In 1945, Europe lay in ruins. World War II, ignited by the expansionist ambitions of Nazi Germany under Adolf Hitler, had claimed tens of millions of lives, devastated cities, erased entire villages, and left deep wounds in humanity's psyche. Historically, in the final days of 1945, Berlin was tightly encircled by the Soviet Red Army. The future of the Third Reich, das Dritte Reich, was sealed. Hitler, who had once boasted of dominating Europe, was now holed up in a bunker beneath the Reich Chancellery, hearing the roar of artillery overhead, fully aware that defeat was inevitable. According to official records, Hitler committed suicide alongside Eva Braun on April 30, 1945, before the Soviets took full control of Berlin. This event is viewed as the final full stop of the Nazi regime. Without its leader, without its ideological core, the remnants of the Nazi government quickly collapsed. A new world order began to take shape. But what if history had taken a different turn? What if Hitler had not died? Suppose, at the last possible moment, he managed to escape Berlin, perhaps through a secret corridor under the cover of darkness, with the help of loyal SS guards, or on a small aircraft. If Hitler survived, a chain of hypothetical events would unfold, dramatically altering the global post-war landscape. The night of April 30, 1945, as the Soviet forces closed in, Hitler, instead of committing suicide, decides to flee. He might have had some contingency plan. A secret tunnel out of Berlin, an armored vehicle waiting underground, or a hidden airstrip where a small plane could take off. Although incredibly difficult, let's assume he succeeded in slipping out. Now Hitler is no longer a leader with grandstanding power. He is a fugitive. He knows the political game is lost, and that the Third Reich's collapse is irreversible. Yet, in his mind, survival is the first step in a longer plan: lie low, gather whatever scattered remnants remain, and perhaps one day attempt some form of revenge, or at least sow chaos in the world stage. He might attempt to find refuge in South America, where some Nazi officials historically fled after the war. Argentina, Chile, or Paraguay were known havens for certain members of the SS or Gestapo. But this would not be easy. Hitler would now be the most wanted war criminal in history, with American, Soviet, British, and French intelligence agencies all bent on capturing him. The slightest leak, any eyewitness report, could lead to his capture. Hunting down Hitler became the top priority for the Allies. The United States, the Soviet Union, Britain, and France might cooperate to some extent, sharing intelligence to find him. Yet beneath this cooperation lies competition. Each power would want the prestige of capturing Hitler first. Such rivalry could quietly intensify the nascent mistrust that would soon give rise to the Cold War, making the post-war geopolitical environment even more complicated. Europeans were exhausted and traumatized by years of war. The lingering presence, or even rumor, of Hitler's survival would delay collective healing. Instead of focusing on rebuilding their lives, people would fear terrorism, underground attacks, and the resurgence of Nazi terror. Governments might respond by strengthening internal security measures, restricting freedoms, tightening borders, and intensifying surveillance. This would create a tense, suffocating atmosphere, hindering the establishment of stable democracies. In reality, after WWII, the world quickly polarized into two blocs led by the US and the Soviet Union. Although tensions were high, the defeated Nazi Germany was no longer a contender. Fascism as a ruling ideology was largely discredited, leaving the stage to the ideological duel between capitalism and communism. But if Hitler survived, the hunt for him became another arena of competition. Both the US and the USSR would want the glory of bringing him to justice, each secretly hoping to gain intelligence from any remaining Nazi scientists or files he might still command. The CIA, the KGB, and other intelligence agencies would intensify their espionage, kidnappings, and infiltration operations, leading to more frequent and dangerous clandestine clashes. This heightened atmosphere of suspicion and rivalry could accelerate the arms race, the fear that the other side might gain an advantage, either by seizing valuable Nazi secrets or capturing Hitler, would prompt both superpowers to expand nuclear arsenals. Instead of a relatively cold standoff, the risk of a hot nuclear confrontation might increase as each side becomes more paranoid and aggressive under the pretext of finding Hitler and preventing fascism's resurgence.